Hi, I'm Dempsey Pulot, and this week I'm reviewing... Now before we start off, as always, I just want to take a quick second to remind you guys to make sure you hit that like button if you like today's video, and if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. But without further ado, let's jump into today's film. Palmer was directed by Fisher Stevens and stars Justin Timberlake as a newly released convict who, in addition to trying to rehabilitate and adjust to life on the outside, winds up as the unofficial guardian of a misguided young boy. Now, I enjoyed this film. Granted, it isn't really new territory. We have seen films like this before where people who aren't ready to be adults are thrust into adulthood by forces that are out of their control. And while there definitely are some versions of this story that are better than others, I would have to argue that this is definitely one of the best versions of the story that I've ever seen told for two reasons. The first being just how grounded in reality it is, and the second being just how great the performances are. You see, aside from Timberlake's Palmer being a former convict, his neighbor/squatter's a drug addict, and her reckless lifestyle is really what forces Palmer to assume guardianship over her son, albeit unofficial guardianship, out of fear that him ending up in a system that doesn't understand him will ultimately do more harm to him. And it's unfortunate, and this is not really a spoiler, but it's more obvious than anything that his past will only let him go so far. And when I say that I appreciated, just how realistic the film was, I mean specifically in regards to this, just how it explores the world after you get out of jail and just how limited your life is from that point forward. Like, the film is very conscious about the fact that a happy ending is very unlikely for our main characters. And as a result, the audience spends a majority of the film on the back of their determination, unsure of what will happen to them, up until, of course, we find out. Additionally, and this is another thing that not only sets this film apart from other films like it, but other films in general, the boy that Palmer is trying to protect is coming to terms with his sexuality. So on top of everything, Palmer also has to shield this kid from a world that may not be as kind or understanding as it should be. And overall, I just really liked it as a neat little modern subplot because it especially highlights Palmer's compassion. Just by the way that he learns to embrace this kid and love him, you're able to get a better idea of who Palmer is beyond his tough exterior. Newcomer Ryder Allen, who plays the kid in the film named Sam or Sammy, is a scene stealer here, by the way, I should mention. There are so many scenes that he has with Timberlake where he just totally upstages him. The best of which are scenes where Palmer is trying to teach Sammy something, and then Sammy will turn the tables and teach Palmer something instead. I am just very excited to see where this kid's career goes after this, because honestly, he's one of my favorite parts of the film. The way that he's able to hold his own against Timberlake is especially surprising to me, because I think this is Timberlake at his best. Not since The Social Network have I seen Timberlake really own a role like this. And while I don't think he's going to get any awards buzz or even a nomination of any kind for this performance, I do still think it's a good reminder that he has not lost his touch at all. Juno Temple also appears in the film. She plays Sammy's mom, and I'm a huge fan of Juno Temple. I've seen her since like very early days. We're talking about like Atonement, okay? So I like a majority of the things that she's in. Here, she may be a bit too much at times, but then again, she's playing a drug addict, so that might just be the point. Now, obviously, this film wasn't perfect, but I think one of my biggest issues with it had to be its pacing, more so towards the end. The first hour and change is pretty steadily paced, but after that, the film fumbles. It becomes too chaotic too quickly. As expected, just when things start to look good for our characters, the bad happens. And it happens for far too long, in my opinion. I think a vast majority of the second half of this film, our characters suffer a lot. And I know that it's more emotional pain than anything, but still, it's a lot. And going back to what I mentioned earlier, how I know that one of the main themes of this film is to certainly show what disenfranchised members of society like Palmer go through, it's hard to shake that sadness. Despite being sad, cliched, and even Oscar-baity at times, Palmer is the rare film about second chances that I think everybody should give at least one shot. Because even though it's not feel good, it's still pretty good. And for that, I'm going to give this film 3 stars.
a whole lot's changed.
Guys, Palmer will be available exclusively on Apple TV Plus beginning this Friday, so please make sure you check it out when it drops. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to view this video. It really does mean the world to me. And once again, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. If you happen to see this movie, or if you see it eventually, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comment section. I look forward to reading and responding to all of your comments as always. But that's pretty much all the time that I have for you guys today. And in case you haven't picked up on it just yet, I'm starting to lose my voice. So until next time, I'm Dempsey Pilat. Take care.